Yes, and then I said to the Arsenal fan, Europa League on a Thursday night. You'll love it, mate. You'll absolutely love it. Oh, we're live. Hello, it's the corner live from the Man Cave. I'm joined by some extra special guests this evening and hopefully a few more popping by as well. I couldn't resist the opportunity to come on and celebrate ascension to the Champions League once more. Fourth place is ours. The Feast of Arseover is today, as named by HG of Viennaville. It's just magic, and I'm sharing it with some wonderful people. So let's go around the room. Becky, how many beers in are you? I know you were a little bit tips earlier.
I started off with beer in my Moretti glass, and then because Dave was drinking as well, and he's a Liverpool fan, we ran out of beer. So now I've got Prosecco in my Moretti glass now. But yeah, I'm quite sunburnt as well from yesterday, so I look like I've got the beer sweat. But
you have.
It's all good.
Let's face facts. You're gonna wake up with a hangover tomorrow and have to teach.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Oh well, it's all in the name of Spurs. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone who was there, you were there. The video is up on YouTube right now of Conte and Sonny at the final whistle. How's it feel to you in Cambridge now, right, Steve?
Yeah, I'm back at the parents now in Cambridge.
The family residence. It's a long trip, that Norwich back. You see, you've done pretty well there, to be fair.
No, it's only an hour and a quarter. Yeah.
Okay.
Bit painful.
To be honest, I thought they were more on sort of horse and cart tracks out there rather than roads. So,
I pretty much lost all phone signal, didn't I, when I went about half an hour away from Cambridge.
Yeah. So. Steve's like, check this video out. I've put it up onto YouTube. I'm like, okay, nothing's there, mate. Nothing's there. It appeared about 10 minutes ago. So you can catch that. What's the video of, Steve? I've not seen it myself yet, given that it's just uploaded. Is it Conte and Sonny?
Just after final whistle, the players coming over saying thank you, and Højbjerg, Conte, Son all getting involved. And I literally uploaded it as I was leaving the Norwich ground.
Yeah.
3 hours ago.
Yeah.
That's how terrible the internet is.
It is terrible. But you were there. You must have had a wonderful time.
Unreal. I don't think Mummy Diver had a great time.
Why?
Slumming it in the normal people seats.
Is that the problem? Slumming it? You weren't in your normal tunnel club clothing.
I don't even think it was a slumming it bit. I think it was more the flares going off around us, and we were in and amongst it. But I tell you what, in a very off chance, the two lads next to my mum see this. Lovely chaps. They mum sat down for a bit. She was getting a bit tired standing up. She's in her mid.
I've got a photo of it here.
There it is, yeah.
There's the raucous crowd.
Yeah, it doesn't look very raucous, does it? The two lads next to my mum off to go get her some water and kind of like look after her. So fair play to them, but she didn't need anything but nice of them to offer. But yeah, the atmosphere and everything's just bloody brilliant. Bit nervy for the first 10-15 minutes.
10 minutes till we scored.
I've been a gibbering wreck for the last 24 hours, but we're there. Barely slept last night.
I was really relaxed about it, as you know. We got along with it. Shan, were you relaxed?
I was hungover. I literally woke up and it set in as soon as I could nearly not find a channel on the stick of glory to watch. Because it weren't going on until like 2 minutes before kickoff. So obviously I was panicking. But yeah, once it's, and then every time they were near our box, because it's Spurs, we all know that until we score 4 or 5, like anything can happen. So even against Norwich. So yeah, it was a good watch. I think it was probably the most comfortable Spurs game I've seen. Where we've been under pressure to do something for the outcome of our season, and it was just Norwich are crap, obviously, but it was so convincing. It's so different to the Spurs we all know, and I think it started with the Arsenal game. It's the most comfortable North London derby I've ever watched.
Yeah,
it was just, and I just think if this is the new mentality that we're going to have from the Spurs side, we've got some good times ahead.
Did it remind you of the Poch era a little bit?
I don't think so, because even the Poch era, there's always that element of, are we going to fuck it up? Because we did.
Oh, I don't know. Let's
be honest, we fucked it up.
That
we won
season,
0, zilch,
we did win nothing, but that second season where we challenged Chelsea for the title, Conte's Chelsea, no less. Honestly, we were the best team in the league that year. We were fantastic. We were blown teams away 3-4-0, but there you go. Another guest has just joined, so I'm going to bring him in. Matt, you've missed nothing so far.
Good.
Apart from a little anecdote from Steve about getting to Norwich and back, because he's been there today. He's been there.
I'm very jealous, Steve. I'm not going to lie. I'm very jealous.
I was so good, and our support was unreal. Like really unreal. It's awesome.
How many Arsenal songs were there? I wonder.
Non-stop. Like literally, as soon as we got into Norwich, a couple of hours before kickoff, the first thing I heard was when I was just a little boy, and I'm like, I know where I'm at now. It was like Arsenal, Arsenal Centre site, Norwich Centre. Even after the game, was just Spurs fans everywhere. It's good, really good.
Loads of great comments already. It's Barnabas, hello, welcome, Teamish, and I'll always have a soft spot for Newcastle. There we go, look at that. Antonio.
Yeah, one of my proudest possessions.
Absolutely love it. Holly's in the chat. Shout out, Hol. How you doing?
That Holly just said. That's literally, that was going around in my head the entire drive home.
Yeah. Well, at least I suppose you probably couldn't get much radio reception out near Norwich, so it's it's all good. It's
playing late Norwich songs about 1970s. I think I got up to, haven't I?
Matt, how did you enjoy the game? Were you nervous, or like the rest of us? Were you just well? There's a mixed reaction. I was fairly chilled about it. That chilled that I was barbecuing while the match was on. Didn't have much choice, if I'm being really honest. Yeah. How were you feeling?
Well, I wasn't that chilled, but it was one of those where the whole week through I was excited and I was ready to go. But kind of late last night, the nerves started kicking in, and I woke up this morning just shaking. It just. You know, let's not use the word because we actually got through it now, but it felt like it was going to be one of those moments for us where just because we had it in our hands, we're playing an already relegated team, it was all as possible, but the nerves were settled.
The ingredients were all there in the pot.
Exactly. But the nerves were settled very quickly in that game because we could have had 2 or 3 before we even ever did get that opener. I'm still not sure why Bentancur passed that one. I would love to have seen him get his first goal, but no, the nerves were settled straight away, and it was just a riveting afternoon in the end.
Yeah, the one off the line that Kulusevski, from what I've seen, was absolutely, on the money. He was fantastic all game, but it was a strange old shot he had that was cleared off the line, wasn't it? That was weird.
He kind of hit it like the wrong foot, didn't he? And kind of like fell over himself as he crossed it.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt, you were going to say.
I was going to say I thought he was squaring it to Son, which I loved.
Yeah.
Son was going for the golden boot. Yeah. I like that kind of that team moment.
Well, he didn't know what to do, did he? And to be fair, he had like the entire away end, which is just behind him, was screaming, "Pass it to Son." And you can see him kind of swivel like this. He's like, "Do I go for the goal? Do I go for Son?" And he did neither in the end. The best bit is the Norwich lot right next to us were giving it large after that. They loved it, and then obviously 2 minutes later he does what he does, belted one into the top corner, so they got the crowd.
It's like we've said before that Son missed the easier chance. I know it was a good save from Krul, wasn't it? But he scored the 2 trickier goals and then had the 2 easier chances leading up to it.
That's Sonny all over, but you know what?
Yeah.
Was it 22 goals in the Premier League?
23.
20. I thought it was 20. Oh, okay, 23.
Yeah, 23.
All outfield. Out. No penalties.
Yeah. And he takes our corners as well. So every time he took a corner today, I was like, well, he's not going to score, is he? Because he takes corners as well. So it's even a greater achievement. We've got a picture, haven't we, somewhere?
What a player! There he is.
There's loads.
Look at that golden boot winner.
Generational.
Drink it in.
Yeah.
Talking of generational, this man as well. Got on the score sheet again today. There he is again.
So Kane scored the most goals on the last game of the season now as well by scoring today.
That's a great picture.
Yeah,
I love Hoybjerg's face in that as well.
Yeah.
And it was Mora, I think, that lifted him up. Little old Mora.
And apparently, you celebrated too hard, Becky.
Yeah, I did. And as you can see, I did it at City as well when we scored the third goal at City, and it did the same thing. I was celebrating with Jack today, and it's still beeping, and I had to click it. But this time I quickly took a picture of it.
That's good. It's good. It's all good. So look, can we just take a moment to reflect on what the job Conte's done to bring us this moment, to get to this position where we're back in the Champions League. Some said we wouldn't do it. Davo isn't with us tonight. But
He's in the chat.
He did send
he's
this
in the chat.
great achievement by Conte, giving Levy zero credit whatsoever. But all jokes aside, Steve, I'll come to you first. I'm going to get round you all on this one. Conte, what job?
Yeah, I mean, he even joked himself about when he joined. Top four was a long way off, right? We look better all over the pitch. We're scoring goals. We look much better defensively. We still look pretty poor against defensive teams. So when teams set back against us, we're not great, but we're looking good. And add a few more players into the team, and I think we could challenge. I think we're a long way off the league, but I think certainly we can challenge for a cup next season.
Shan, could you do that in a slightly more upbeat fashion than Steve? Could you sound a bit more excited?
Because wasn't sounding excited.
That was an accountant sounding excited.
The only thing that takes the shine off Conte's miraculous achievement is what we could have done had we just fucking signed him in the summer. That is the only thing that takes a little bit of the gloss off it for me. Because had we signed him in the summer, we would have probably finished above Chelsea, which would have been even better. Because, who are Arsenal? They're shit. So finishing above Chelsea would have been great. Maybe we could have won a trophy as well. If we'd have had that all season, we could have had a window with Conte in the first place. Not signing players for a system only to sack the manager 3 months later and get someone in that plays a completely different way. Ari Emerson, who, by the way, has been massively improved since Matt Doherty's injury. He's stepped up and he's become a bit of a cult hero. But Conte, what a job! Like I don't think. We all know Spurs fans can be pretty hard work in trying to get behind the team and come together and have that togetherness. And I think we've seen Conte do that quicker than I think. Even with Poch, there were people calling for his head before things were going well. But
100%.
From the first game, I was at Vitesse. That was a crazy, crazy game. But from the very first minute, everyone was behind Conte, and I think that speaks volumes. The things we've managed to do as a fan base, as a club, being in the stadium for that North London derby it's special what we've achieved when you consider where we were with Nuno getting sacked. Like, did that even happen? I can't even remember what it was like to have Nuno as our manager now.
We don't talk about Nuno. No.
I do think we need to talk about it though, because it is a big part in how well Conte's done. We were dreadful under Nuno, absolutely dreadful. Even when we were winning those games at the beginning of the season.
Well, we weren't dreadful against City. We were very good against City, to be fair.
One game. And
that was about the peak. That was about the peak of his reign, if I'm honest.
That was it.
Yeah. I think just on that, Matt, Conte, we couldn't have got him in the summer, could we?
I think we could have if we really wanted to, but hey.
Yeah, I at the time in the summer, it felt as though we couldn't get him. We wanted Poch, we couldn't, we couldn't convince PSG to let him go. We wanted Conte, we couldn't just convince him to come to Spurs. But in hindsight, that managerial hunt turned into such an absolute mess that I really wonder what was Conte offered. What was actually said to Conte? What was the situation at the time? Because it took a lot, obviously, for Paratici to convince him in November. I still think one of the biggest factors in Conte coming to Spurs was the fact that Man United publicly didn't even consider him. I think for his kind of ego, his reputation, I feel that would have damaged it a little bit for him. So I think he kind of felt forced into taking a job, and maybe Tottenham were only the only one available. I'm still not really sure why he actually came to a club that were struggling in the Europa Conference League, conceding 3 to Palace, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. So I'm not sure if we could have got him in the summer, but again, it's just difficult to say really what was going on there. But the job he's done is nothing short of miraculous. I mean, he's got 2 players in January that played a massive part in getting us to where we were. I think the Romero signing, even though it happened before Conte, I think still is a Conte signing. So he's the perfect style of player to play on that right centre back role for him. But the fact that he's turned this squad into a Champions League team is absolutely outrageous. I mean, Ben Davies, absolutely love the man. There's no reason why he should be as good as he is right now. And of course, credit to Davies for that. But players like, Matt Doherty gets injured and we're sad about it. And we're going to think we're going to miss him. How the hell did that happen? And even the way we're looking forward to Emerson Royale's compilations on Twitter now, it's nothing short of a miracle that Conte has pulled off here. And for me, something that's almost equally as impressive as how he's changed the squad is how he's changed the fan base. The atmosphere that was there in those games against Arsenal and Burnley, and unfortunately I had the sound off for the game today because my dad was watching Liverpool, and apparently that was more important. But the atmosphere that was there today as well, this fan base, it's been a long time since there was this sort of togetherness, and the fact that he's managed to achieve that in such a short space of time as well, and we're all optimistic that it's only going to get better from here, is really incredible.
Look, the reality is I think in the summer he was waiting for the Man United job. Honestly, I think he was keeping his options open and had just walked. Let's not forget, he had just left Milan. So I don't think it's as simple as we should have got him in the summer, to be fair, Sham. That's my view. But correcting a mistake, righting a wrong, he's in. Let's hope he's here for the next couple of years at least. And let's hope he gets backed in the transfer window. I mean, normally Matt Hayes is the man I go to for all my transfer news. Matt's shows are excellent, as I'm sure you'll all agree. And this summer, I'm sure, Matt, you're doing absolutely loads of stuff. The only thing I would ask you to consider is maybe the cheese room might have some inside sources, because we can go straight to the horse's mouth, as you can see here. Steve, did you get anything interesting out of him, Fabio?
Yeah, mate. He gave me proper in the know now. He gave me a list of all the players he's going to sign. Yeah, legit.
legit.
I always laugh at Spurs. There are very few in the know with Spurs, and I'm certainly not one of them. Tottenham is a very, very, very tight-knit club.
I'm still waiting for this boxing match that you told me was happening like months ago to be announced.
Well, that didn't come from Spurs. That came from somebody who's very close to AJ. But doesn't look like it's happening, does it?
Not at the moment. They're going to Saudi, mate, all day long. Becky, same question for you. Antonio, let you wax lyrical. This is your opportunity to worship at the altar of Conte.
Yeah, like I think people have said, it just have to pinch ourselves that he did come to us. I'm rubbish in the summer, so I won't be on much in the summer because I'm not very good with transfers, or as you know from the Arsenal preview, I'm not very good about other teams.
Who are Arsenal danger men?
Yeah, exactly. But when we were linked with Conte, I'd actually heard of him and thought, oh, I've heard of him. He must be quite good. So yeah, for him to actually choose us, and he's tweeted about an hour ago about how it was like a team effort, and there's been all this education and improvement, and he's written like a really nice tweet, and at the end of the game he pointed at when they were clapping Antonio, he pointed at the players, and he's quite humbling really, because I know he's got the ego, and it's just fantastic to have. It's just like we said before, I hope we can keep him for as long as we can keep him. Obviously getting Champions League massively helps that. So yeah, great.
Seeing Conte put "Come on, you Spurs" at the end of his Instagram post, by the way, I don't think he's done that before.
That's a breakthrough in our relationship. That is.
No. It's special. I think I can see him and Kane both signing long-term contracts. I can. Yeah,
honestly, I think.
Should Levy back him in the summer? But
I genuinely think. Well, it's interesting that he said he was backed in January very recently. Yeah. Antonio said that, which a lot of people have obviously said nay to. But Davo.
Look at them today. Look at them today. Bentancur and Kulusevski. Let's ignore the goal there should have been, but
Bentancur
was sublime today. Yeah. Really good.
But to me, the window, Steve, the window was not really about those two. It was about shifting the bad eggs out as much as anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest statement from the Enoch side of things. That's the side of things that you haven't seen before. That's Paratici pulling the strings, or Paratici. That's not Daniel Levy's way. That is absolutely the new way of working at the club with a new person as the managing director of football, right?
But before Davo flies over from Sydney to slap me, I'm apparently too much in the Enoch and Levy camp. I do think that did leave our squad very, very, very. I mean, you look at our bench. Even today, with not many injuries, our bench was.
We've got 5 players out.
Weak.
Our bench was basically the academy team.
Yeah, very young.
Not many injuries for a Premier League team to have at the end of the season.
They're going to have to sign a lot more players in, aren't they? I mean, we're talking about releasing like 6, 7, 8. Some people want 10 players gone. My man Stuart Austin, shout out to him. He would be happy with 10 gone, I'm quite sure. Shan would definitely be happy with 10 gone. I'll be happy as long as Harry Winks is gone, if I'm being really honest.
I don't know about that. I don't think we'll get rid of 10, and I think that some players that people will assume we'll get rid of, I don't think we will. I think Harry Winks for sure will go. Stephen Bergwijn will go. The players on the periphery will go. I think Reguilon will go. Emerson maybe will go on loan, but I don't think we should sell Emerson. I think he's young and I think he's improved a lot.
Emerson's a debate that splits Spurs fans in an era of where Spurs fans are less split than normal. That's what I would say with Emerson. I agree with you. I think he's worth persevering with. I think we had this chat on the show. You weren't on it, Shan, the other night. Matt was on it, where we were talking about Emerson, and I don't think alone, if anything, for him. My view.
I definitely think we need to keep Matt Doherty around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
the goat.
We need a left wing back that's not made of glass.
Yeah.
That is very, very important. Maybe even 2 left wing backs that aren't made of glass, because I mean Cess I think he's in his longest streak in the team at the minute without an injury. So yeah, there's some problems that we need to address for sure. But there's a lot of really top quality players out there on frees that we can potentially get in. I think we're looking at signing 3 new centre backs. Ben Davies, I don't think we should be looking at selling him at all.
Definitely not.
Super Ben Davies needs to stay around for next season because he has been sensational in this last half of the season. He has been absolutely brilliant. He's kept us in games by himself at times with some
I don't think I've ever heard having his name chanted before either. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I've never heard that before.
Very, very loud.
But he's flexible, isn't he? So he can play left back, he can play left centre back. He doesn't moan. He's good in the dressing room, and like we know
model pro, Steve, model pro,
100%. Like if we dropped him to the bench, if we got in Bastoni and we dropped him to the bench, he would continue cracking on. He'd get his chances in the team, and he's a very, very, very good squad / occasional first team player. I think we're never going to win the league with him as our left centre back, but credit to the guy. He's played well, and again today he was good. Made a couple.
I'd just say Victor Moses has got a Premier League title winners medal there, Steve. But it's possible.
I think we could.
Possible for players to win the league. I think Davis. Don't get me wrong. Look, would he be my first choice at left centre back? No. But I think they're going to target a left centre back as a signing, and Matt's nodding. So I just think that he's just. This season, he's always been very good as a squad player. Just he'll slot in wherever he doesn't make a lot of fuss. You need people like that. Like even Chelsea have got people like that. Even City have got people like that. You need people that are going to give you a 7 out of 10. You absolutely do. Because the reality is you can't have 20, 25 world-class players. You're always going to have a few players who are not that as gifted, but make up for it in terms of professionalism, and he's absolutely one of them.
The interesting thing about some of the reports lately is, when the Athletic, they first said a month or two ago that we were targeting Bastoni, Vardiol, Botman and Schlotterbeck to be our left centre-back. But Alistair Gold, when he said a couple of days ago that we're looking at Bastoni, he emphasised that it was as competition for Ben Davies. So the very fact that we're looking at Bastoni, who is one of the best, if not the best, left centre-backs that plays in that very specific position, if Ben Davies is even being considered as competition for him, that tells you everything you need to know about his performance. And I do think if we do get a Bastoni, which since last summer has been my dream signing, I don't think will happen. I think it could be a situation like when we brought in Lloris, we had Brad Friedel. He played for 2-3 months and slowly Lloris was kind of brought into the squad. I think the same could happen if we get a left centre-back to compete with Ben Davies this summer. But wow, Davies has been absolutely incredible. And that block against Liverpool sums up his season for me, putting his body on the line. Such a pivotal
moment. He took one in the knackers today.
He did. He
definitely took one for the team today. And he's taken a few of those in the last few weeks as well, to be fair to him.
That's the thing. He does every week in, week out. He literally gets balls volleyed at him, and he just doesn't moan about it. He just cracks on. Not the most gifted footballer on the ball, but like I say, you need players like that in your side. He's definitely not going to be on the sale list. I think Conte quite likes him. Interestingly, that all the managers have liked him. Jose liked him. Who knows decent players when he sees them. Potts liked him. Potts signed him. So, it's Shropshire Spur. Shout out to the Shropshire boys. 6 out of 10 under Conte has been Mr. 8 out of 10. Yeah. So there you go. And,
but I think Stuart from a while back is kind of what, you make really good comments to it, but I think that's what concerns me a bit at the moment. So I think some people's expectations going to summer is a little bit too high. So Stuart was saying a while back in the chat that we need to sign 7 first-team players, 7 starters. So effectively, that's what? Assume we've got Lloris, Romero, Kane, Son. They're the only 4 who are going to go through, and every other position renewed. That's never going to happen. So you're going to.
I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying that 7 players that have the ability to challenge for first-team spots. You wouldn't replace Kulusevski, but you'd absolutely want someone better than maybe Lucas Moura to challenge for his position, wouldn't you?
Okay, but I don't think we're even going to sign 7 players. I mean, 7 players of that quality is a lot of money and a lot of churn. I think we'll improve and we'll invest, but I think people who are expecting club to, Dave was chatting in our WhatsApp group about 8 or 9 players out and about 15 or 16 in.
That's never happened in
not going to happen.
That doesn't happen at Man City, let alone Spurs. Matt, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say with it, I think we are going to get a forward this summer, whether it's a backup to Kane or a player maybe to switch with Bergwijn as a bench player. I noticed when we were linked with Dybala, a lot of people said we're talking about who he replaces in the squad, and if we get in a player who's good enough, they don't have to necessarily replace someone in the squad, because if we have a decent run in the Champions League, decent run FA Cup, decent run Carabao Cup, we could be playing 50, 55, 60 games next season. And if you have, just take that front line, for example, you have 3 positions and they're split amongst 4 players across 60 games. That works out as you can start those 4 players each 45 times, which is still a lot of games to start in a single season for any player. So if we do plan on going deep in those competitions, it's not a case of where will we fit in a 4th forward. We absolutely need a 4th forward, and one at the level where you can trust that they can come in and perform to a similar level, probably of Kulusevski. We're not going to get someone as good as Son and Kane. And I think it's the exact same logic for the centre midfield, and it's the exact same logic for the centre backs as well. And
they're all internationals as well, so you add international fixtures to that, and the travelling, and if they get any niggles or knocks at internationals as well, isn't it?
And like Steve was saying there, or was it you, Conor, mentioned the amount of injuries that we had. Hopefully, if we have more players, either the injuries are fewer, or when they happen, we've better players to step in, and we don't need to rely on an Alfie Devine on the bench, who I hope has a big future at Spurs. But at the moment, you'd rather not see him as a player that we may need to look to change again.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a great comment.
That is spot on, that comment.
It is a great comment.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is it's not just about Conte, it's absolutely about Fabio Paratici and who he wants in, because I think he is the man that's made a lot of this happen. Let's face it, we would not have Antonio Conte if Paratici wasn't at the club.
Or Romero.
or Romero, or Bentancur, or Kulusevski. So yeah, I know people are quick to point out the fact that we've made a few errors maybe in the transfer window, but you're gonna miss a few, aren't you, Becky? You're not every signing's not going to work out. The main thing is that you improve the squad every window, right?
Yeah, and I think in the past, whether the Champions League has been the issue, and if we compare it to people like Diaz, sometimes it's going to be wages, and some players are not going to pick us because of the wage structure. But I like the way that we seem to pick players that sort of fit the kind of the right mold. Like we said, we talked about the Celson and Ndombele and Dele and people like that going out. And Kulu and Bentancur have both got the right attitude, so is Romero, and hopefully it's that kind of thing. It's like the ethos of the team as well. Yeah, like I said, I'm not the person to ask about transfers because I'm shocking and rubbish and know nothing. But as long as we keep buying players like the Juventus rejects, I'll be more than happy.
Well, Becky, I don't think any of us know, because when Bentancur came, he was the tag along for Kulusevski, wasn't he? He was a player we all moaned about, and we said, okay, Paratici's done a deal. We've got to buy Bentancur to get Kulusevski. We'll get him along. Nobody really cares. And he's not world class. Let's not get
he's the reason.
He's very
He's got
good.
potential to be. I think he's 24 years
I
old.
agree.
He's young.
I agree.
He's young.
Yeah, he's helping in Højbjerg improve, I think, as well. He's making Højbjerg far more solid.
His passing as well.
And he's
like his vision for a forward ball is just.
Yeah.
He got 2 assists today.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, I want to point out that Kulusevski was top of my wish list, and I'm very, very, very proud of that. I don't often make good calls like that with players that we should target, so I'm going to milk the heck out of it. Thank you.
Mate, milk it. I mean, I went on a lot of Juventus forums when he was going, and a lot of people like Bentancur's class. You'll enjoy him. Kulusevski, one season wonder, isn't all that. And he's has he turned 22 yet? He's 21, 22.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
So
I think he's a month older than Foden. To put it into perspective.
Yeah, but Foden's best player in the world. So
I know. Yeah. That PFA list was an absolute joke without Son on it. I know they're saying it's not the real PFA list, and there's a proper one coming out, but the Son not be on it is just a joke. And then, I think if Kulu had a full season, he is right up there for young player of the season if he carries on the same way he's playing next season, because he's just been so good, and obviously he's only been here since February.
100%.
Everyone always talks about Bukayo Saka as the next best thing. Kulusevski made his Premier League debut on the 19th of February and already has the same amount of assists as Saka at his entire Premier League career, and he's catching up on goals as well. I saw a tweet a while ago that said if Kulusevski had joined Liverpool, the hype around him would be 100 times more than it is. It's just because he plays with Spurs, people don't want to recognise how good he is, and look, that's fine by me. If people don't want to recognise that, if he can go under the radar, if he can catch teams off guard, if nobody wants to sign him in the window, that's absolutely fine with me. But it is quite frustrating when players don't get the credit they deserve because they.
I love the way they say that everyone would work out that he always cuts inside. Well, he cuts the goal that he scored today. He cut inside, didn't he, and curled it with his left foot. So people aren't working out that he's cutting it inside either. As well, I love that.
No, absolutely. That BT Unbreakable broadband they're always advertising on TV.
Is it failing you today? Is it?
That's what I've got in the man cave. The download speed, I just checked, is 500 megabytes a second, which is like, just fast, isn't it? It's really fast. But it is a bit dodged this evening, so I'm going to be having a word. Absolutely having a word. I'm drinking gin and tonic. It's a very nice gin. It's Altitude Alpine Gin. They don't sponsor this show, but there is room for sponsorship if they want to. So if anyone from Alpine Craft Gin is thinking about it, I'll get pissed on the air for you all day long. No problem whatsoever. Kulusevski. I know we were just talking about Bentancur and Kulusevski. Is there any more Juve rejects that are likely to come to us, Matt? Anyone got our eye on?
I imagine there's one or two that Paratici could have his eye on. The Juventus reject I was hoping for was Paulo Dybala, but
I
that
was
ship
going to
has
say, please don't say Dybala.
yeah, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. That won't be happening. I think he's off to Inter Milan. But yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Where would he play for Spurs? So he doesn't. How we play at the moment, he doesn't really fit in.
Mm-hmm. See, I think we need to be a bit more versatile at times. When we play against teams with a low block, we struggle, and I know we've been saying that for ages, and we probably improved with that this season, but I do think we do still struggle with that. And I think we need to have a bit of versatility and play in a different formation at times in certain games. And if we were going to do that, a brilliant formation to play would be a 3-4-1-2 or 3-5-2, which is what Conte won the league with last season. And I think within that, what he did at Inter Milan is he rotated between 4 strikers in that too, and he 2 kind of big typical strikers, target men with Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. Then he 2 kind of wider, smaller, more nimble strikers in Politano and Sanchez. I think if we were going to play that system, Dybala could fit in the number 10 role where Christian Eriksen played, or he could rotate up in the top line as one of those kind of more unconventional strikers. But he's just a quality player. I know people are giving out about his injury record. He hasn't missed as many games this season. It is a concern, and moving to the Premier League, you maybe would expect that to get worse. But I think there is a few places he could fit into the Spurs team. But then again, if Paratici doesn't want him, if Conte doesn't want him, I'm more than happy to see him sign a contract with Inter Milan.
This is a good question. Where do you guys think Skip will fit in next season, and do you think he'll replace Højbjerg? I would imagine there'll be a lot of rotation next season, wouldn't there? Because if Winks is going, please God, let this be the season that Winks goes. If Winks is going, then you're going to get another quality potential, another Bentancur coming in. Hopefully, that's what we all want, right? So you're going to have 4 sort of defensive holding, or slightly more than that, midfielders. I would just imagine he's just rotated, to be honest, because Højbjerg, I'm not his biggest fan. I did call him the crab at one stage this season when he just seemed to go side to side and back, but he's been all right, hasn't he? He's stepped up. He
needs to work on his finishing now, and that's coming from me, who is a renowned Højbjerg lover. He needs to work on his confidence in front of goal, because he has missed some blinding chances this season that could have been worth points and finishing above Chelsea if he'd have put them away. So, yeah.
And thankfully, we don't have to regret those misses as well. So, like at Liverpool, and today, he had the first chance today, and luckily, it didn't make any difference. When we still got Champions League.
He's one of those players I'd want to upgrade. If we can upgrade, and look, I believe Oliver Skip is absolutely. I've sponsored Oliver Skip since he was in his mother's womb.
When Oliver Skip was just
I was saying you've never mentioned it before.
He's so much better than Harry Winks.
He was. He's been better than Harry Winks since he was 16. But anyway, the point is, I believe he's a much better player than Højbjerg, and I think I think between Højbjerg and Bentancur, I'd love to see that midfield. Bentancur, by the way, what a classy player! It's just everything about him. When you watch him, especially when you watch him live, and I'm not saying this for people who watch at home, respect to you, but when you watch him live, you see all the stuff he does off camera. He's just everything he does just exudes class. His positional awareness, the way he takes up quality positions, strokes the ball around the pitch effortlessly. He's a player, I think, Steve, who just very much is effortless. It just comes naturally to him, doesn't it?
It does. So I was slightly distracted with what Becky was doing there. I don't know.
Well, she's about 10 beers in, so she could do anything. She'd do a handstand next.
Looks like we're trying to blow a balloon up. He does look class. The only thing I don't like about Bentancur, and he is stopping this. He still likes to be very classy on the ball around our box.
Yeah, you hate that, don't you?
Something about that I love, though.
I love the cheekiness.
I love it when it works.
Romero's done stuff similar.
How many times has he been caught, though, Steve, doing it badly?
Not so much recently. But
I've not seen him get caught at all.
No,
when he first joined, there's a few times, not to the point where we conceded a goal.
He's like me on a Tuesday night with pirouettes and getting out of trouble,
I mean,
he's the reason.
Tuesday night. But yeah, he's class, and he seems to have. I mean, this is such a cliche, isn't it? He seems to have that extra half second or second on the ball to pick a pass that really good players have. So I think he's quality, and for what did we pay for him? 20?
Well, about a lot, 20 million,
25
20,
mil.
25.
So if
It might not have even been that much.
he hasn't gone
I
back
think it was
to sleep,
19. Sorry.
19.
19.
Yeah.
Ah, no, that's a shame. So that's outside of the Dave Harris, the Davo kind of zone of death, isn't it?
Everyone who's 20 to 30 million turns out to be shit. That zone. Yeah.
Agreed. But what I
Maybe
would
he's worth less
say,
than.
yeah, true that. But on Højbjerg, I rate him, and I think we should keep him. Very, good squad player, reliable, good Premier League player. Got a lot about him. But every time he runs forward, he looks a bit like a chicken. So he's panicking, and so many times today when we're breaking and he had the ball, he doesn't know where to pass it. And it just slows down. We had 3 or 4 breaks, particularly in the first half, where he just had no idea where to pass it, and then he stops. He does a bit of a swivel, a bit quicker than Parker used to, but still pretty slow, and then passes it to his side. And I think Skip, for all his inexperience, he's much more progressive with the ball.
Yeah.
Given we don't have creative players, and we do struggle. When people play low block and play defensively against us, I think a player like Skip can help, because when we do break, we really break, and we're not wholly reliant on Kane dropping deep, Son pegging it as quick as his little legs will take him, and Kane putting it over the top.
Talking of teams that defend deep, can we all just agree in unison that the best thing that probably will happen for Spurs is Burnley being relegated and never having to play them next season?
I knew you were going to say that. Well said, Shan. Well done.
Burnley, not playing against teams. We're rubbish against teams that sit deep. No Burnley in the league next season. And don't have to go to Burnley next season, because that drive is shit. It stinks of piss and it's a horrible place, and it always rains.
Yep. Well
Speaking
said.
from experience, it's a horrible place to go.
I can't disagree, but also I can't agree. So I think, as our more regular callers know, we know the Pope family quite well. So we were, messaging.
He might not stay. He might move on. So you can follow
You're
him
not
where he moves
mentioning that,
to.
Steve. You're not mentioning
I know.
Yeah.
Mention it as irregularly as I do keto, right?
Nick,
But it was.
Steve talks about keto so much it comes up on my Facebook sponsored. That's how much Steve talks about keto.
But it was a sad but interesting insight. It's like, fortunately we've been following a team, supporting a team, loving a team that hasn't been relegated for a very long time. But speaking to his mum this evening on the drive home, they're gutted. The players are completely down. Their families are down, and it's a big impact. So kind of we never really get that insight, luckily, at Spurs. So we've got the highs, but there's plenty of lows about. But also we've got the highs, so fuck everybody else, quite frankly.
I mean, it's Burnley. I mean, soz for the Pope family, but I'm happy that they're not going to be in the Premier League next season. And they deserved it for treating Sean Dyche, the absolute legend that he is, the way they did.
True.
Sorry,
that. So a couple of people have mentioned caller Pape Sarr. Where does he fit in, Matt?
I'll tell you where he fits in, on loan. Matt, sorry, my name's not Matt.
Yeah, no, I think he's gone back out on loan as well. He had a really good season last season with Metz, but they've been fighting a relegation battle this year, and I think he kind of fell out of favour a little bit. But also when you're in a battle like that, young players like him, inexperienced a bit, maybe too keen to play in a more pragmatic system, maybe he just fell out of favour for that reason. But I don't think if we wanted him to go out on loan last season to get more first team football before we integrated him into our own squad, do it again, because he hasn't got much this season. Definitely not enough to warrant him, getting in there ahead of. Do you know what I'd say? He would not be a better option than Harry Winks next season, for example. I think he needs another year, maybe 2, to get that first team football before he's ready for us. But he's a very good option to have, and one for the future. And to be honest, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if he turned out to be a good player for us now, because I thought I probably would have said the same about Skip at the start of this season. I don't think he was enough to be a regular starter, and we've missed him a lot. But I'd say we probably need to just be a bit more patient with him, as with Brian Hill, in my opinion.
But does he need a Premier League loan?
Yeah, maybe Premier League, maybe Championship loan. Obviously, that move to Norwich did skip really well. I think Jack Clark could be the same. He had some good spells in the Championship, went back down to League One. I think he needs to go back to Sunderland, have another year in the Championship. So I think there is logic in sending Sarr back to France, Hill back to Spain. But if we really want them to adapt to the style and the physicality of the Premier League, they need to stay in England, even if that is down to the League One or League Two. So hopefully it's something a bit different for Sarr, but definitely a team other than Spurs next season for me.
Maybe Burnley.
Look, he'll learn a lot there, that's for sure.
He could absolutely bring the class to Burnley.
I would absolutely not want to see him go to Burnley. But
I would have to see anyone go to Burnley, to be honest.
What's happened to you in Burnley or something? You seem very aggy against the club.
It's just anti-football, isn't it? It's anti-football, and no one enjoys playing them.
Let's
I
forget
spent
about
the most
Burnley.
depressing night of my life this year in Burnley. It's a very depressing place to be.
Let's forget Burnley for a minute and bask in this.
I'm so excited for this to come out. It's going to be.
When is it out? When is it out? People have been. Yeah. When is it out? People have been tweeting me today saying, "When's it out?" I'm like, I don't know when it's out. When is it out?
It's August. It's this
August,
summer.
yeah.
Is it?
It's August. Yeah, the summer.
August.
So it gives us something to do while we're waiting for the Premier League to come back.
Yeah.
The Lego Movie 3.
With popcorn.
But didn't somebody say last week that they edited out the first when they were bottom? They edited it out and then they've started from when they weren't bottom. What? You can't do that. So that means they just show from, I don't know, October to about February.
You absolutely can. They did it with us, didn't they? So
I was going to say,
they completely ignored the fact we were like 15th in the league when Potts left. Bless him. I will say this: Stephen Bradley, our friendly Gooner, who runs the Daily Cannon or is a big part of the Daily Cannon website. He texted me. I didn't text him at all. I didn't provoke this. Congratulations, Squire. Enjoy a beer. He sent me at
fair play.
So fair play to him. Fair play to him. He did say he might pop up in the comments tonight. Just
He did.
for people, but
He did.
Did he? I didn't see
He
it.
did. You missed it. Good hosting. We've also got another top
Probably off
top gent from another club as well.
It's Alan, our resident Geordie.
Big Al. There you go. You did do your job against Arsenal.
I very much enjoyed watching them do their job against Arsenal as well.
Just do their job against Arsenal. They smashed up.
They
Arsenal,
absolutely
didn't
battered Arsenal. They violated Arsenal. It was great to watch.
they? It was.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Sam Maximum versus Tommy Asu, Pat Chan's love child. Absolutely, but he absolutely smashed it. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So
Newcastle looked good. They looked a good team.
I think there'll be a force to be reckoned with in the transfer market, Matt. I think you're going to have. We could have a few transfer targets that move to Newcastle, but the reality is now we have got Champions League football to dangle, haven't we?
Yeah, and that's going to be huge. Look, if Newcastle do try and pip a few of our targets, that just makes it more exciting and it gives me more content, so I'm happy with that. But I think we'll ultimately, if we do get into a battle with Newcastle, we'll probably win it because everyone can see what's happened at Spurs this season, and Champions League is going to be a massive, massive pull for bringing in players. And even if we didn't get Champions League, I think we still would have that pull because last summer we were in the Conference League, we had Nuno Espirito Santo and we signed the best defender in Italy. So there is something about this club, something about this stadium that attracts that. But if you take what we were last summer to bring in a player like Romero and you add Conte and you add the Champions League, I really do think there are players that we're probably not even considering as targets for Spurs because they're so much better than what we would expect to bring in, that we could end up seeing in a Spurs jersey because Conte, Paratici, with the contacts he has with the people he knows, I think it could be a massive summer. And look, Newcastle are a force to be reckoned with, especially in the transfer window. I think on the pitch they will be next season as well. But for now, for next season, I'm not too scared about them passing us out. I hope I don't regret that.
Well, we will see. We will see. I am worried about Newcastle. I won't lie. Steve, from an accountancy perspective, are you worried about Newcastle?
I mean, a little bit. They can't spend too much money. Plus, every season, we're like, oh, yeah, we only finished top 4. I needed that because this team had a bad season or that team had a bad season, and next year we're going to finish bottom because all the other teams are going to do better than us. This is always the time of year where we get a bit dramatic, and we can only do what we can do. I'm not, in the short term, I'm not overly worried about Newcastle.
No.
And we can only play our own game. Like I say, we couldn't really look at other results. We just had to go out there and get the result, and we did that. So that's all we can really do. So I'm not too worried.
In the spirit of laughing at other teams today, because I think it's fair to say we're going to laugh at Arsenal for quite a long time. Brighton and Hove Albion put out a tweet this evening. You may or may not have seen this. I've not got it on the screen, unfortunately, but it says Brighton and Hove Albion are massive. After beating West Ham 3-1. I mean, that is some burn there, isn't it? I mean, West Ham, you talk about teams messing it up. So all I've heard this season is how good West Ham are and how they're having their best ever year. Well, enjoy the Europa Conference, boys, because, you finished below a really shit United side. You're not even in the Europa League. That's how massive you are. You're so massive, the Europa League isn't big enough for you.
I mean, I feel like we need to have a little bit of grace about us because we were in that competition last season and deserved.
No, Shad. Fuck Grace. Fuck Grace.
I did one.
No, about Grace. You what, Steve?
No, nothing. Didn't say anything.
You were making a joke about a girl called Grace, weren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I saw someone refer to it as the Cornflakes League today.
Look, at the end of the day, it's a competition that bad. We actually sort of a way to get ourselves out of it. The reality is, West Ham are there. They're not massive. They're a tin pot club. I've got a real problem here because I've run out of tonic. I've got gin, no tonic, so I could go and drink it neat or go get some tonic. So I'm going to leave you lovely people in charge and debating just how good it feels to put West Ham back in their hole, to put West Ham
back in their place. Absolutely, because I've had the same. I've had them in my.
I'm gonna go get a gym while you're.
Yeah, I've had West Ham fans in my comments all season. Same with Arsenal fans, and all I've had from them is, Tin Pot Conference League, blah 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 blah. We're massive. You're Tin Pot Club. When did you last win a trophy? La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. So it is absolutely fantastic to be putting these little rats in their place. But at the same time, I don't think we should belittle a competition that we were in last season ourselves. That is all I'm saying.
It's a fair point.
The thing is about West Ham is that we beat them twice, didn't we? We're supposed to be their biggest rival. We beat them twice, and they finished lower than they finished last season. So they can't have said they've had a better season. Yes, they got to the semi-final of the Europa League, but they have actually finished worse. They've had a worse season. So they must be disappointed.
Obviously, they beat us at home, didn't they? They beat us at the running track. They beat us there, but it was because of a lucky set piece. That's the only reason. And it was Nuno Spurs. So they were absolutely delirious that they'd beaten Nuno Spurs 1-0 from a lucky set piece. And then we absolutely put them in their place in the Carabao Cup and at home. Yeah. So off you go. Enjoy it. Back down the table where you belong. Hopefully even lower down the table next season. And I'd like to see Newcastle actually get that spot next season. Like a little bit of... They could finish higher, but I think that would be a good step in... Good level of going up. And I mean, I feel dirty saying that because of their owners, but I'd rather see Newcastle there than West Ham, and I think everyone would agree with that.
Still,
that team through so much. in a trader tour. Last summer when it was you can have a season and they was sacked halfway through almost.
He's always tweeting Kane stuff and
Maybe has better stats than Declan Rice this season. I think Declan Rice is overrated because he's English, he's Irish, he plays in an England shirt. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
He's
Totally
overrated for that. His price is inflated because of that, and it's just it's lunacy to me. I'd rather have Calvin Phillips. At least he's got a bit of creativity on the ball. I'd rather have Calvin Phillips in his
He's gone down. Oh no, they've stayed up, haven't they? Yeah.
I think Google have got some issues because they're saying there's no sound, which is interesting.
I can hear it.
I can.
Yeah, I can as
you
well.
can hear it through here, but if you're watching it on YouTube, you might not be able to. Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? To be honest, and I was going to wrap pretty much there anyway, because it is a bonus show. But I just want to, I just want to thank you for your time, really, Matt. Brilliant. I love your Antonio flag. I went to buy one from the club, but unfortunately, there were none in the gift shop. There were none on the stand. They were all sold out last game of the season. So hopefully, when the new season starts, we'll go back there.
Yeah, I just want to say I think people in the chat are having us on because I just checked YouTube and the audio was fine. So someone has sent people here to mess with us. But yeah, look, always a pleasure. Good chance to get this content flag out because I haven't been able to yet. I got it when I was at the Leicester game, but the way it was packaged in the plastic bag, it was just the red part of the flag that was showing. So I was just walking around with like a red bag, and I thought I didn't really fit in, and I wanted to throw it away. But I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I kept it. And this man is a saviour for our football club, and it's been a pleasure celebrating that with you tonight.
I definitely want to buy this. Gimme Sweden one with Kulusevski on it. But unfortunately, again, that was sold out last game of the season. I'll absolutely pursue it. Becky, how drunk do you feel right now? How many fingers am I holding up?
I can feel the kind of the headache is kicking in a little bit. I'm gonna have to have some, but I need to watch match today, so I'll be all right for match today, and then all right for school tomorrow, and then I'm back tomorrow, so I'll be all right.
You're back tomorrow night. You're back on tomorrow night.
I am. I'm back tomorrow night. Yeah.
That's good. Stevie.
Thank you, sir. It's been a good day, isn't it? Been a really good day.
Well, better for you being there.
Yeah.
Sorry to rub it in, but being there was bloody awesome.
Well, let's not forget. I mean, this is like, how much would anyone trade for Matt? How much would you like to be in that picture?
I would pay everything I have in my bank account. So there's €6.78 there for you, Stevie. If you want me to give me that.
My Jack had a wave for him last week at the Burnley game. He waved at Jack. My Jack's got a wave.
I'm really jealous. I'm not going to lie.
And hold on, Matt. Who are you replacing, Paratici or me, in that photo?
I'll let you work that one out for yourself, Stevie.
And Shan, as ever, first broadcast from your new pad, is it?
It is.
The interrogation light behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Why
it's
not?
Good light. IKEA special.
I believe you, but it does look like you're about to interrogate Jack with it at any moment. Poor boy.
He probably deserves it, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. All right. Well, look, we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. You know the drill. We're going to talk transfers. We're going to talk the match review in depth. We're going to talk everything Spurs, everything that's on your mind. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Until next time, come on, you Spurs. Champions League, here we come.
Champions League. Champions League. Here we come. Champions League.